Hey students and parents, this week for ELA, we're going to be talking about a figurative language term, simile, a comparison using like or as. So what is a simile? We talked about this last time when we talked about figurative language. A simile is when you take two unlike things and you compare them together and use the words like or as to connect them. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's look at our example right here. So we have this girl and we're going to compare her to the sun, specifically her smile. So her smile and the sun are two different things. They're not related, but we're going to compare them to make a point. We're going to say her smile is as bright as the sun, or her smile is bright like the sun. We just use a simile right there. The first pattern is when we use the word like with our comparison. So let's go over some examples here. She swims like a fish. We're comparing the way she swims with the way a fish swims. He looks like an ogre. We're comparing the way he looks to an ogre. Ugh. He walks like a duck. I don't know. Am I walking like a duck? I don't know. I'm comparing in this one the way he walks to a duck. She acts like a clown. Well, she probably acts pretty silly. So we're comparing the way that she acts with that of a clown. Each time we do this comparison, again, we're using the word like to do that. The next pattern if we're using similes is to use the word as in our sentence. So here we go. Here's some examples. He's as tall as a giant. So we're comparing how tall he is to a giant. She's as fast as a rocket. She's pretty fast. We're comparing her speed to the rocket. He is as graceful as a swan. Wow. We're comparing the way that he is, his grace, to that of a swan. She is sneaky as a fox. We're comparing the way that she is with a fox. And he's as quiet as a mouse. We're comparing the way he is to that of a mouse. In each of these cases, we're using the word as to connect our comparison. So now let's try to make some similes. Here's the first one, soft. He talked as soft as a whisper. We're comparing the way he talks softly to a whisper. Let's go over heavy. He was as heavy as an elephant. We're trying to pick him up. He's too heavy. We're comparing the way that he is heavy with that of an elephant. It's as hot as an oven in here. So we're comparing the temperature in the room, how hot it is, with an oven. The problem was as big as an ocean. So we're comparing the problem with the size of the ocean. It's really big. It's a big problem. Let's go over the next one. Her eyes were as pretty as the sunset. So pretty. So we're comparing her eyes, how pretty they are, to that of a sunset. I bet you can come up with some similes as well. I'm going to put this up at the screen and give you a minute to look at them. So look at these words. Can you come up with another simile for any of these words? So now let's try to create our own simile story. So you'll see here's a brief paragraph and we'll read through it together and we'll see if we can come up with a simile that can go in each blank. There's a lot of different similes you can put in here. I'm going to give you an example for each one. Then I'll leave it on the screen for you to look at and see if you can come up with your own. The moon was as bright as the sun. I walked quickly through the dry grass that crunched like dry leaves. Trees as tall as skyscrapers towered over me. As quick as lightning, a huge animal ran towards me. My heart felt like a drum beating in my chest. I ran like a rabbit to get home. So that's just an example for each one that I did. Now let's look at the screen, and now it's blank again. Let's see if you can come up with some similes of your own. So let's now see if we can try to improve on similes. Each one of these three already has a simile in it. It's already comparing two things using the word as in this case, but they're a little bit boring. Let's see if we can make them much more interesting. The first one, it's as smelly as socks. Well, let's improve it. What kind of socks? Let's make it more descriptive. It's as smelly as old, dirty gym socks. Gross. That gives me a better mental picture and it's a better simile. Let's go over the next one. It's as dangerous as a shark. Okay, let's see if we can improve it and make it a better simile. It's as dangerous as a hungry, great white, giant shark. That's a little bit more descriptive and a better simile. And the last one, it's as cold as a milkshake. Let's make it better. It's as cold as a frozen milkshake in Alaska. That's pretty cold. That makes me cold just thinking about it. We just made that simile better. All right, now we're gonna go over some examples that have a blank in them. There's already a simile there. We're gonna try to figure out what's gonna go in that blank. These you've probably heard of before. Some of them are pretty common similes. Let's go over them together. Without his glasses, he's as blank as a bat. Well, if I didn't have my glasses, wait, I can't see you anymore. Let me put these back on. Aha! Without his glasses, he's as blind as a bat. Simile, the way he sees without a bat, because a bat can't see so good. Without my glasses, I can't see so good either. Let's go over the next one. That's a pretty dress. It's as blank as a rainbow. Well, think about a rainbow. What does the rainbow have? A lot of colors. So here we go. That's a pretty dress. It's as colorful as a rainbow. There's our simile. The last one. Be quiet. You're as blank as a herd of elephants. Well, have you ever seen a herd of elephants or heard a herd of elephants? They're pretty noisy. So let's see if that works. Be quiet. You're as noisy as a herd of elephants. There's our simile. You got it. So we talked about what a simile is. We talked about the patterns of recognizing a simile, how they compare two things, and how they either use the word like or as to compare those two things. We went over some examples. We went over how to improve similes, and we came up with a lot on our own. I'll be posting these slides as well as some practice activities for you to work on. If you want me to post more information, let me know and I can do that. And if you'd like to Zoom over this lesson, just click on the link in Schoology.